brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and Please Bank, our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Sabrina Daly.
And I am Isani Cayetano. Good morning.
And good morning, Isani. How are you doing on this Wednesday morning?
I'm good. Feeling a bit chipper.
I know. Yes.
I'm okay, man. I'm okay.
We had quite an eventful day yesterday. I know you were very busy in the latter part of the evening, filling up our newscasts with some headline news. But aside from that, you also mentioned that you're still a little bit jet lagged. You mentioned
operating on 4.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah,
but I'm not complaining. We'll see how I make it through the day.
And we are at Hump Day, and you would know that tomorrow is our official Halloween special. So that's going to be a bit exciting. I think from there on, it's going to feel like the week just flies by pretty quickly.
I thought about putting on my
your
orange
costume?
No. My orange or my burnt orange.
Yeah,
the auburn
you should
color.
have.
I looked at it and I said, okay, man, I'll just leave that for tomorrow.
You know what though? We still kind of got the vibe. You got a shade of something type of like you.
I went to canary yellow instead. Something has to give.
It's fine. But yes, we do have a jam-packed show this morning, but we do want to jump straight into what's buzzing first. All right, well, starting off, I stumbled on this article a couple days ago, and it kind of came back on my news feed because of the talks that are still taking place. You would know, Isani, that it's currently the NBA season, so a lot of people are enjoying their basketball teams that they're rooting for. It's the start of the season. I'm yet to pick a side at this point, but I will get in there. But I know it's also a point of recognition for certain athletes who have been really made a legacy for themselves in the sport. And one of those persons that were recognized was Dwayne Wade. Is he one of your favorite athletes, you'd say? Yeah, Used to?
All right, so if we're talking basketball, this would have been like circa 2005, 2006, right? When you had Miami Heat's big three with Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal, I'm trying to remember the other guy, but there were three of them, right? That was when I sort of, really admired Dwayne Wade's skill in terms of being a basketball player and his ability to score and his understanding of the court, so to speak. But that was it, right?
Yeah.
Afterwards, and I like the fact that he was dating Gabrielle Union at the time, and then they subsequently got married. So I was following all of that. But the thing with his son turned daughter and all of these other stuff outside
that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, and that's when I kind of drew back.
Okay.
But that's not what we're discussing this morning.
No, we're not. I didn't even expect that much of an explanation.
We're discussing a bus that was unveiled fairly recently.
Yeah.
And so I'll be honest with you. I wasn't really following it in the beginning, It wasn't until yesterday I was shown a picture of the bust of Dwayne Wade, and there we go. Man.
When I said to in the
Where
group
is
chat,
Stephen Okeke when you needed him?
Yes, that's what I said. So I sent it in our Open Your Eyes group chat, and literally all I was like is, where was Stephen Okeke? Yeah. Indeed.
It reminds me of, I don't know if you follow the Madame Toussaint wax figures, where you have all of these
celebrities in wax form. Yes.
Okay, right? And there were a couple of them where the sculptor had it all wrong. In this case, this is a bronze bust of Dwayne Wade, and I'm thinking the least they could have done was take a picture of Dwayne Wade and do sort of like a side by side in terms of being able to mold or fashion this particular statue.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, and this isn't the first one that we've seen look a little bit funky, off.
Yeah.
We would remember Cristiano Ronaldo and his twitching looking eye that he got. But I mean, of course, this is a relevant conversation because there are many people who are lovers of the sport. And also, like I mentioned, that's why I started the conversation with fans of Dwayne Wade. But you would know, Isani, it was just about a month ago that we unveiled our very own bust of the late Right George Cato Price. And that was a bronze figure as well. Beautifully done at that.
Well, this is what I find humorous, right? Because with sculpting, particularly of this nature, you either get it or you don't get it, right? It's either on or it's completely off.
It's a hit or a miss.
All right, so when George Price's bust was unveiled in September, a group of us were running a joke, you know, because of how his hand is extended out. Some people are saying it's Hail Hitler.
No.
As opposed to his trademark wave, because that's George Price's trademark wave, right?
Yes.
But yeah, it's just that it's a figurine, you know, it's not something that is in motion or whatsoever, so it kind of gave off that impression. But I digress.
Yeah.
Back to the Dwayne Wade one, right? I'm saying, man, the least they could have done, you know, in the process of sculpting this figure is to look at the man's existing portrait or image and then look at where you're going in terms of a guide as to how you're coming along or whatsoever.
Maybe that's what they did. People are saying that this looks
Look
like
at that, man. Wow.
if Mr. Clean and a Black Santa had a baby.
Yeah. This is a hybrid of every possible
Everything
thing that could go wrong.
that could go wrong. Nonetheless, I mean, even Dwayne Wade had thoughts on it. I saw a video where he was giving his presentation at the podium and saying, you know, who's this guy? But there's just some humor for you this morning on the topic of sports. Like I mentioned, I know that a lot of people follow basketball, follow these athletes. And so you would have been celebrating his recognition, being a Hall of Famer at this point. And even if it comes with some off-looking busts, we still have to give him his kudos for the work and contributions that he has made to sports. Jumping into another topic this morning, though, I know that a lot of people are anticipating the United States general elections in just a few days, really. So leading up to that, we are seeing these rallies amp up. I know, I believe it was over the weekend, we saw Beyonce take the podium with Kelly Rowland and her mom, Tina Knowles, talking about or essentially endorsing the Vice President Kamala Harris. And of course, on the opposing side, we also know that Donald Trump is kicking the ground running, also taking part in several campaigns and rallies, and also having celebrity figures, which is very common in the United States, being endorsed or part of the endorsement for their run.
So because we don't really have celebrity culture, quote unquote, in Belize.
Who would be our celebrity that would endorse? I said Super G.
And even if they endorse, does it really carry that weight? I don't know. That's a question for someone else to answer. But I'm saying this, right? Over the past few days, we've seen, well, not over the past few days, over the past several months, because you've seen musicians, you've seen actors, and other celebrities come out in support of their candidate of choice, either for the DNC's Kamala Harris or the RNC's Donald Trump. And as you mentioned, over the weekend, Beyonce and her mother and her best friend came out essentially in support of Kamala Harris in Houston. And for persons who were following that particular event, it went well. Minus any controversy or anything that would have come out of it. But on the other hand, former President Donald Trump, in his recent campaign exercise, made some comments about Puerto Rico that is also trending because it's controversial and inflammatory, where he's describing Puerto Rico as this essentially a garbage dump, right? And clearly that rubbed a lot of persons of Puerto Rican heritage or ancestry the wrong way, including Jennifer Lopez, who came out, with scathing remarks of her own against what was said.
Yeah.
And it speaks to national pride, right? You and I are both Belizeans. If someone were to say something about Belize in a negative kind of way, then you'll hear from us, right?
Yeah.
Because that's not who we are as a people. That's not what we represent as a nation or what have you. But it's just to show you the extent to which people are able to say certain things and incite a particular response from their audience. In this case, perhaps that comment was completely unnecessary, but he chose to go there, and here's the backlash.
Yeah.
Now, here's another aspect of it. Over the weekend, the Trump team had approached 50 Cent. We all know who 50 Cent is. They approached 50 Cent to perform at the RNC rally in New York at the Madison Square, and they were prepared to pay him $3 million to perform Many Men. No, you know why Many Men? Many men wish death upon me.
Oh.
Because of the assassination attempt.
Yes.
Right? And 50 skillfully backed out of it and said, he's running away from politics.
Not for money.
Yeah.
Not in this case.
Doesn't want to have anything to do with it, right?
I mean, that makes me now question other celebrity performers that would have attended these rallies. Are they being given a payment for their presence, or is it simply because they support the candidate?
Well, that's a good question. I wouldn't be able to answer that. If it's a performance, you're not necessarily asking for the artist to perform for free in front of these throngs of people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? But the idea is that they reached out to these artists to perform, and it's part of, rallying up the troops, so to speak, right? When you have an artist, a big name artist, performing hit songs and what have you.
Well, I know a lot of us, as I mentioned, are anticipating this election set to take place in early November. This could quite possibly be history in the making, seeing the first female president of the United States.
And I was just about to go there. So aside from the fun and jokes of it all, this is serious business, right? It's not that we haven't seen a woman presidential candidate before in the United States. We had Hillary Clinton, who ran and was unsuccessful, but there was a female candidate fielded by one of the two major parties in the United States. So this one, however, and I'm thinking it would be, once it goes in her favor, what would be described as a watershed moment. Because you would recall in 2008 when Obama was elected president, he was the first black president, right? And that was a watershed moment in US history. And so if it were to be that Kamala Harris is elected president, she would be the first woman president and the first woman president of color, right? So that in itself would also be considered a watershed moment in US politics.
You said 2008 Obama, and I was like, what? So far back? It doesn't even feel that far back. But that does it for What's Buzzing conversation this morning. If you have any thoughts on either of the topics mentioned, let us know in the comments section. And if you also have any suggestions of things that we should discuss, whether here locally or even internationally, also make those suggestions as well. But Isani, we do got to move into our weather update. We do want to see what we can expect from the folks at the Met Service.
Good morning. Relatively moist and somewhat unstable conditions prevail. The 24-hour forecast: skies will be sunny with cloudy spells today, becoming mostly cloudy by tonight. A few showers or isolated thunderstorms will affect mostly southern and coastal areas this morning, and then northern and central areas this afternoon. For tonight, activity will increase, especially along the coast and offshore. High temperatures for today will reach around 86 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 88 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and 75 degrees Fahrenheit in the mountains. Low temperatures for tonight will reach around 77 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 72 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and 66 degrees Fahrenheit in the hills. Winds over the open sea will be from the north to northeast at 5 to 15 knots, and sea conditions will be light chop. Then high tides occur at 8:54 this morning and 8:33 tonight. Low tides at 2:48 this afternoon and then at 3:32 tomorrow morning. The moon will set at 4:15 this evening and then rise at 5:04 tomorrow morning, and then sunset is at 5:21 this evening and sunrise at 5:51 tomorrow morning. The extended forecast. Skies will be mostly cloudy. A few showers, periods of rain, and isolated thunderstorms will occur around the country on Thursday, and then mostly along the coast and south on Thursday night. And now for a look at the tropics. Tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the North Atlantic, the Caribbean Sea, or the Gulf of Mexico during the next 48 hours. However, a broad area of low pressure is likely to develop over the southwestern Caribbean Sea and has a medium chance of development during the next 7 days. And this has been this morning's weather report from the National Meteorological Service.
All right, there you have it, your update from the folks at the Met Service. Moving now into our show lineup. As we mentioned, we have a jam-packed show this Wednesday morning. Starting off in our first segment, we'll be joined by representatives of the Belize High School to talk about how they're working with NASA to grow food on Mars.
Our second conversation is with the Ministry of Agriculture to discuss livestock and how you can identify and avoid the New World screwworm fly. Wow.
All right, and we'll also be chatting with folks from BTB announcing Belize being selected for the 2024 Green Destinations Top 100.
And our fourth and final conversation this morning is with the Honorable Tracy Panton, the area representative for Albert. And of course, we're going to be talking about everything that has been taking place over at the UDP headquarters over the past few days.
Wonderful. Well, we got to take our first break, and when we come back, it's all about farming beyond Earth with Martian Greenhouse 5.0.
El Patio Grill has been using Belize Bank for over 25 years. We only use Belize Bank at our restaurant. That's why we were able to win this trip to Europe. I had never been to Europe. We found out it was Madrid and we were excited and we went to this football match. The teams reached before the game and everybody was just outside, you know. You can't explain, the noise just roared like 3 blocks down the street, but when you got in there and you saw 70,000 people in there, that was amazing. I couldn't believe it was happening. I had to pinch myself to make sure it was real, you know, because it's a one-in-a-lifetime experience, I'd say. My lucky plus one was my son. He's 18 years old, so he was really excited and he enjoyed it as well. He said it's his best trip ever, so it's a priceless experience that we got. Belize Bank has always been there for me. Whatever transactions or whatever I need to do, they're always there for me. I would recommend everybody to use Belize Bank. It's the oldest bank in our country and they continue to do their best.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
It's an massive season with massive deals and rewards at Penny's. From now through December 31st, earn double B-Bucks on store-wide purchasing every Saturday. That's right, 2 times the B-Bucks, which means 2 times the cash back when shopping at Penny's. Plus, get even more rewards with B-Bucks Builders on home goods, tiles, appliances, paints, and lights. And don't forget, there's also massive deals and discounts on tiles and the best brands in paints like Benjamin Moore and BH. Rewards, deals, B-Bucks. You can get it all this massive season only at Penny's. Quality and savings.
Are you a dynamic and charismatic personality with a passion for storytelling? Do you have a unique voice that captivates audiences and a talent for bringing stories to life? We are looking for fresh faces who are energetic, engaging, and natural in front of the camera or microphone. If you are passionate about acting or voice work, we want to see what you've got. To register, email producer@channel5belize.com or call 670-6068. Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We are starting our first conversation this morning, and as we mentioned, it's all about farming beyond Earth. Now that definitely gives a lot to think about there. Now this is a project, I believe it's called the Martian Greenhouse 5.0, and we are joined by representatives of a high school that is partaking in this project. We are joined this morning by Consuelo Godfrey, and she is the director of the teaching training program with the Belize High School. Also joining us is Alessandra Avila and Michael Habet, and they are also participants representing the Belize High School. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning,
and
guys.
welcome.
Morning. Thanks for having us.
Now, growing food on Mars, a lot of us hear about the possibility of life beyond Earth and what that could potentially look like. We've also talked about the possibility of growing food on Mars, but seeing actual young persons invested in this process is something that I think might be the only thing closest to, for me, living on Mars.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this project, the Martian Greenhouse.
Sure. Thanks, Sabrina, and thanks for having us. Pathlight Belize, the organization I work for, really was the pioneer, and we trailblazed this project in the year of COVID. And it was an opportunity for students to be able to, one, learn in a new way, be able to touch with subject matter experts from around the world. Our first project for Martian Greenhouse started in 1.0, started back in 2020. We only had 3 schools participating, and we were pilot testing the design team. I'm a part of the design team, along with Dr. Matula from NASA, Dr. Kennedy from the Space Center there in Colorado. We have 2 trainers at Pathlight that participates. And then we have all our students from all the different high schools around Belize. What I really like about this project is it allows students to think about design thinking, think about concepts of design. They look at energy. They look at all the things that would power a greenhouse. The students will tell you about their experience, but it also introduces them to things like agriculture, types of soil, the food that they'll grow, the seeds that they'll carry, to in order to sustain life on Mars, which is really and truly, in the next 50 to 100 years, that is a possibility if this Earth is inhabitable to live on.
I would want to think,
what's happening, right?
If I interject,
sure.
I also want to think that it also involves astronomy.
It does.
Right?
Yes.
At its core, because you're looking at another planet altogether. It's not the one that we occupy.
And as you know, Mars, well, I've learned so much about Mars in doing this for 5 years. Mars is not, there is water, but there's a different, so the atmosphere, they learn about atmosphere, the water systems, the food systems, the land, you know, even if how they're going to structure and sustain the actual structure of the greenhouse. So this project is 15 weeks. Belize High School has been a participant for 3 years. We have 6 Belize high schools participating and 2 U.S. high schools. And it's an awesome project. The students will talk about their work with their mentor, Dan Adamo. But it really allows students to learn from people beyond Belize. And it's really the future of learning.
Yeah.
And I think, and I always say this about the program, what these students learn in 15 weeks about space and science is, in my mind, blows everything else out the water. What they would learn in a year with a textbook or a 10 by 10 classroom. And so they learn so much more in just 15 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily how long you're in school, but it's the quality of the learning.
What you're able to take in.
I think it speaks to the competency-based curriculum and what we are looking at in terms of reformed education here in Belize. I have to say, of course, kudos to you guys from Pathlight who have encouraged institutions to go a little bit outside of the box when we're thinking of science-based learning. But of course, we do want to engage our students in the conversation. As I mentioned, we have 2 representatives here from Belize High School who are actively a part of this program. Now, guys, were you interested in anything beyond Earth before this project came about?
For me, I don't think I was really. I've always taken a liking in space and astronomy to an extent. Never to this extent, and I never considered about being able to plan growing plants on Mars. So it was really interesting, and I found it as an exciting opportunity when my teacher asked me to participate.
What about the academic exchange? Because you're also, you know, in constant communication with other students like yourself who have the same interest.
It's interesting because you get to learn a lot of other ideas, other perspectives, and it really helps. It teaches you a lot of teamwork, a lot of team building, a lot of communication, especially learning your strengths and other people's strengths to effectively perform research, because that's something that we had to identify what everyone is strong in, how we can use that to the most potential.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I also understand that you guys have been privileged to speak to some people who actually work in NASA or with NASA, astronauts at that. Michael, what has your experience been like?
Yeah, so I've never really been much into this space, but since joining this meeting or this organization project, we've met with many experts from NASA, from SpaceX, from different engineering companies, and it's really interesting to see how they just know so much about it. You know, me personally, I was never really interested in space, especially in plants. So to grow plants on Mars is beyond something that I ever expected to be doing in high school. So yeah, meeting with the mentors and such is really opening my knowledge.
How has that helped to broaden your horizon in terms of being able to understand more about outer space and also life here on Earth?
Yeah, so, well, I didn't know anything about Mars, how people live on Mars. But yeah, I really have gained a lot of knowledge about it, especially since even on Earth, I didn't even know how stuff works on Earth for plants. So yeah, it really broadened my horizon, yeah, as you said. So yeah.
Now, Ms. Godfrey, you mentioned that these students are a part of a team of sorts.
Yes.
I'd like for us to get a greater understanding of what this partnership looks like. What's the end goal? Because you did mention that this is 5.0, so 5 years of doing this. Is there an ultimate product or project that we can expect as viewers to follow along this journey with you guys?
Yes, thanks for that, Sabrina. Yes, certainly. So what we do is we allow students to create their student teams at their school. It's all student-led, so it's really student-driven. It allows for students to plan and meet in their teams, like Alessandra said. allowing students to have different roles and participate. Every week there's a weekly check-in, so there's a different leader that presents. They have to provide updates. When they meet with their mentors, they have to come with their questions about their design or wherever they are in the process. So that's 15 weeks. Then on November 20th, the students will present their final designs. Now, I can safely tell you that we have been blown away every year by the students of Belize in not just their design, but in some schools actually build a prototype of the greenhouse. Georgetown Tech did an actual prototype. Belize High School in their first year did a prototype. King's College last year, they did an entire video that was in 3D that provided a whole, like a view of what they would do on Mars had they been the scientists who were on there. And so, as Michael says, it really broadens the horizon. They're going to present to a panel of experts and to other schools. So we will invite like their parents and everyone that has supported them in these 15 weeks to participate in the presentation. We have all the presentations over 5 years that we are putting. We have our page, our Martian Greenhouse 5.0 page, and that's going to be featured on our YouTube channel, which is also for Martian Greenhouse. And they share this across the globe with so many different schools. We've had schools from Nigeria, schools from Pakistan, schools from Brazil that have participated over the years. Belize usually has the most participants. I really think that it was a way for us as a country to have our students, because I think our students are just as talented and just as intelligent to be able to broadcast and show their work and their skills. So this was, for me, this was a passion of mine to push for Belize, that we would have our students participate like this. And I'm so happy that this year we had 6 schools that was interested in participating in this project and in this program, because it does, every Tuesday they have to meet for an hour online. And then they have to meet with their mentors, and then they have to find the time to meet each other and make sure they check in, and we teach them project management skills, and we teach them design skills and research skills. And they get to learn to talk to someone other than their teacher and understand that in life you're not learning just from your teacher, you're learning from people around you. So you have to know how to communicate your ideas, right?
Has there been any sort of perhaps a follow-up with past students to see if they're still very much interested in this pursuit?
Well, that's something we have students that have done it before. We call them legacy leaders, and we have 2 actually that are participating as leaders in this one. So we do have an exchange of, you've done this before. What kind of I think it's Naki and Elisa. Both of them are students that have done it before, Naki from South America and Lisa from ESTM. These students have done this for years, and so now they want to give back to the program. And we encourage that level of leadership. We have some students from Pakistan and India as well, who have participated, that have also guided some of the breakout rooms that we do. I think you guys would have seen some of the students, past students. So yeah, that's one way that we check in with our students who have done it before. But that's a really good idea, Isani, for us to follow up and see, hey, is the interest still there, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, my big question is, and I'm sure this might be one of the questions on a lot of our minds, how do we grow food on Mars? What will that process look like, guys?
So far, we have come up with the idea of using an aeroponic system, which, for those who don't know, is basically like utilizing more structures that are hung in the air and then watered via nozzles. And we selected certain plants like lentils, legumes, spinach, kale, mushroom, beets that can be used to then make phytomeats, which is just a plant-based meat, because you still need proteins in order to sustain the body. So, and you will be there for very long lengths of time, so you need the necessary nutrients.
So what I'm hearing is not every type of plant will be able to be grown on Mars, and the ones that will be able to be grown, you'll also convert into some sort of plant-based protein as well. Very smart, guys. And yourself, Michael, what have you learned so far in terms of how we will be able to have food on Mars?
Yeah, so for me in this project, because we all delegated different tasks to each other in our group, we have 6 group members. So for me particularly, I've been focused on the energy for our greenhouse. So for Mars, we have decided that the most effective energy source is nuclear energy. So for us, we're doing 2 different nuclear reactors for our greenhouse. So I'm not particularly,
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I don't know all the specifics of the plants, so I'd have to ask my other group members.
You're going nuclear. Is it because perhaps when you look at the climate of Mars, you don't have wind or any other alternative source of energy?
The other energy is like solar energy. The thing is, on Mars, there's some storms that can last a lot of time, and you won't get any solar energy. So the most reliant one is nuclear energy.
Interesting.
What goes through your mind, Ms. Godfrey, when you hear these students actually understand the concept of survival on another planet?
Well, it says one thing that, and if you listen to Michael and Alessandra, and they talk about each their own little area of expertise, just imagine if if all our high school students could learn this way. It doesn't take a lot of time. This is 15 weeks. And these students are becoming experts in their own little, Alessandra with the plants, Michael with the energy. You have some students who are looking at the actual structure, how we as humans would be able to survive. I think it's every time I listen to the students, I get very passionate about it, because when I look at their final project, I'm like, this was worth it, right? This was worth all this investment and time, getting Belize onto this team and getting Belize onto this project. So I'm really pleased, and I'm so happy that both Michael and Alessandra could speak so intelligently about the work that they're doing. But you could ask them, I mean, how do they actually, if they feel good about participating, what do they think about teamwork?
Yeah. Alessandra?
It's interesting. I haven't taken up many projects where I have to work with others or many projects in general. So when I did decide to join, I found it to be very enlightening, and a lot of lessons have been learned, a lot of methods of research, identifying my strengths, my weaknesses, being able to work with others to help with my weaknesses.
Yeah. I think one of the things that stand out to me is the fact that these students are doing this almost sort of independently. They have to manage their time aside from regular school hours to ensure that they meet their commitment that they signed on to. Is that one of the challenges that you guys have observed through this process?
Yes.
Yeah? And for you, Michael?
Yeah. Well, so I've been designated as a team leader for our team. So especially for me, I have to be making sure that everyone's attending meetings, making sure that we're meeting regularly, and making sure that everyone's contributing evenly. So yeah, that's been a challenge, but so far it's been good.
What would you say to encourage other students, not necessarily from Belize High School, but any other school who would be interested in this kind of initiative?
Yeah, well, I would say don't be afraid to do something that you don't know about. For me, I didn't know anything about it, but I was interested in it, sounded fascinating. So I said, all right, I'll try it, I'll give it a chance, and I'll do my best.
And there obviously needs to be buy-in from the school in the sense of allowing these students to take the necessary time needed to do their research. What is that coordination like with Pathlight and these actual institutions?
Right, so this is part of our after-school level up program. We started out with a program called STEM for Girls, and it really was aimed at girl teams, like from around the country. But then we realized that we have to also include both boys and girls. And so it grew after the first year to having schools participate. We usually do a call for school participation in July and August. And we normally get like 10 schools who initially said they want to do it. But one of the challenges we've been facing is having teachers as facilitators, and we are really happy that Mr. Campos from Belize High School has agreed and Mr. Kus has agreed to be facilitators, because it's not a teacher-led process, it's a student-led process. So teachers take a back seat. They just have to ensure that when they meet with the mentors, it's safe, following all the protocols, that the students are, leaders like Michael and Alessandra are keeping to task. But it really want the students to develop this idea that they don't always need their teacher to learn. They don't always need their teacher to hold their hands in everything. So it's a process that these students are learning to be independent. The next project that they do, they can do it on their own. But it has been a challenge to maintain large numbers of schools. It's myself, and I bring in my team from Pathlight, and we do all of this voluntarily. This isn't even a part of what we do, like a day-to-day of the work that we do, because we do teacher training. But to me, if we're teacher trainers and we're an organization, a leading organization that does professional development, how is that impacting the students that are the beneficiaries?
Yeah.
So for me, I love this opportunity because then I get to see, okay, we're training these teachers. Is it really an impact on students? Like, are they really going to be implementing the work in school? So here is an example of a project that speaks to student achievement, that speaks to those impacts. In real time, we talk about subject matter experts, but are we really doing that? Are we really creating a structure in our education system that allows for that to happen? So that learning is global. It's not just about doing it in your little 10 by 10 classroom. It's so much more than that. Our students are global citizens, so we must give them opportunities to be that.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I was just about to ask you about the gratification that you personally get out of it. You seem to be very much invested in this program. What's the sense of satisfaction beyond seeing these kids excel in this particular area?
That's a satisfaction, Isani. When I see those projects on November 20th, I sit there and I'm like, wow, like this is our Belizean kids. I have two girls that went through the system. One is still in high school, and I said, imagine if this was offered to her, if she could do this, if she could learn this way. So the satisfaction is one, seeing students like Alessandra and Michael take up that leadership and be able to share their knowledge. But not only that, look at a school like Georgetown that's, you know, way all the way out there in the Stan Creek Valley area. These students are so passionate. Miss Nadine is so passionate about this work. And the kids, they don't have internet, but you know what they do? They pool together and they stay at school, and Miss Nadine gets someone to pick them up, and there's such dedication. And when I see the final project like we saw with King's College last year, Bishop Martin's project, I'm like, wow. So to me, that just makes it all better, because then I feel that I've contributed something to the system.
Absolutely. But are there any other incentives that these kids are looking forward to aside from the final project? Perhaps opportunities to meet with these professionals in person or via virtually?
I would love that, Sabrina. This project has been going on for 5 years with no funds. This is a no-fund project. This is all voluntary time. These experts that come and speak to the students, they take time out of their busy schedule to meet with the kids every week, to find their own time to meet with, like, they have Dan Adamo, who is awesome, by the way. He's been with us for 5 years. He is super crazy about working with students and, you know, and doing all this work. But it would be great if this could become like a lab exchange, where we have students who participated in the program. Now imagine if these guys get to meet students from Tom Collins and Holy Trinity School, those are the other high schools from the United States, get to exchange ideas with these students who've participated and say, hey, wouldn't it be great to have a Belize delegation go up and meet with people from Lockheed Martin, meet with people from NASA, from the aerospace industry, the Buzz Aldrin Society that participates. But yeah, it's really just passion and volunteerism that drives this.
Wow. Well, kudos to you guys. Again, we can definitely see that passion is one of the biggest drivers of this particular project. And also kudos to the young people who have decided to take time out of their schedules where they could have either been at home or been doing something else with their time, but to devote themselves to this project that really just comes from a place of passion and curiosity. As we wrap up this conversation, I'll ask if there's anything that we can look forward to in the near future as it relates to the Green Martian project.
Well, Alessandra and Michael could certainly say what they're going to do on November 20th. What can we look forward to, students?
Well, at least for our final submission, we hope to do a video and a digital 3D model. So not a physical prototype, and we're even considering making a prototype of just the agriculture system.
Oh, nice. Well, I remember watching the movie from the other high school, and that was impressive on its own. So to see this in person would be even more interesting, I think. And on your side, Michael, what we can expect from you?
Well,
you're on the same team, yes?
Yeah, we're on the same team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we going to be looking forward to you guys taking part in future projects like this?
Well, we're both seniors right now in high school, so it's about it for us.
It's about it.
Let's step back a bit.
Yeah.
Let's step back a bit and talk about what it means for you two students representing Belize High School. I know that BHS has been sort of in the forefront of robotics, sciences and technology, the whole STEAM program. What is it for you guys, that particular feeling of being an ambassador for your school?
Yeah, it's a very good feeling. Specifically robotics has been big in our school, but myself and Alessandra were science majors, so we are focused in science. So this is like very special for us because finally we got a big project that we can do that revolves around our science-based learning. So yeah, it's a very good feeling to be able to represent your school.
Yeah. It's essentially the same, like you said. Robotics has been, I think, one of the main focuses towards BHS. So BHS's notion to be a robotics school, but there is more. Like, we have debate that I believe both of us have participated in. There's other subject areas that I think also deserve some shining on.
Some recognition as well. Ms. Godfrey, if there are any schools that might be interested in taking part in perhaps 6.0, how can they reach out to you guys?
Well, certainly Pathlight, we work in all the high schools, so we're going to do another call. We want to see if we could do one for the spring, but this one will be on energy, sustaining energy using alternative means of sources other than oil. And so certainly we want to be able to have students participate in that. Hopefully we can run the program that would be Energy 3.0, because that's 3 years. And then we would do a call to all high schools. So we do have a WhatsApp group that we have with teachers on it. So we will definitely send out our flyers. But if they want to contact Pathlight to learn more about the program, they certainly can contact me. Most teachers probably have my number by now. We work in all the schools. So they could certainly contact Pathlight if they want to learn more.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Congratulations on the work that you have been doing, and we can't wait to see your final products.
Thank you so much, Sabrina and Isani.
All right, we are going to take a quick break now, and when we come back, the conversation switches into unraveling the mystery of the screwworm fly.
Upcoming enhancements to My Social Security. The new healthcare provider feature seamlessly connects healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers to facilitate the payment of sickness benefits. Here are the enhancements. Registered healthcare providers will create and submit online medical certificates using their healthcare provider accounts. Insured persons will receive a link to view the medical certificate to complete and submit their sickness benefit claim. And employers will receive an email notification of their employee's sickness claim. Also, the insured person and their employer will receive a copy of the claim decision letter after review. Healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers are encouraged to create a portal account to access and benefit from these new services on My Social Security at ssbportal.org.bz. My Social Security online portal. Social Security at your fingertips.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Full-Tech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Full-Tech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connections, pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Iowa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Iowa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Iowa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Iowa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Iowa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
Are you a dynamic and charismatic personality with a passion for storytelling? Do you have a unique voice that captivates audiences and a talent for bringing stories to life? We are looking for fresh faces who are energetic, engaging, and natural in front of the camera or microphone. If you are passionate about acting or voice work, we want to see what you've got. To register, email producer@channel5belize.com or call 670-6068.
My name is Cleon Aranda. I am 11 years old and I go to Hattieville Government School. I think it was evening. My mom got out of her room and she shouted that I had won the essay competition. I felt excited that my school got a prize because my school needs it. I remember one morning waking up to the news that my cousin was in an accident. It was an uncertain and fearful situation until we learned that she was going to be okay. Unfortunately, not every family member is as lucky as we were. Many families lose loved ones to traffic accidents, and I cannot help but wonder how many accidents can be avoided if only people would keep their eyes on the road and mind on the drive. We are all humans, so what the driver misses, another passenger in the vehicle may catch just in time to save life.
With Cleon winning this competition, not only shows that Cleon is a brilliant student, it also shows that the quality of education provided here at Hattieville Government School is exceptional. A big thank you to BEL. The donation will be used to refurbish the computer lab. I believe it will enhance their learning capabilities and it will also better equip them for this technological world that we're now living in. Thank you to BEL. Keep up the good work and encouraging students to read more, write more, and participate in competition. And also to note that BEL does not only provide electricity, but that they also engage the communities in a lot of positive ways.
Power on with confidence. Design Depot brings you an attractive selection of GE appliances, including microwaves, washers, dryers, refrigerators, dishwashers, countertop appliances, and more. We understand the importance of appliances that not only endure, but also excel in performance. As your trusted GE USA authorized dealer, we stand for reliability and performance, ensuring that you can power on with confidence. Visit us today and power on with efficient, reliable, and energy-saving solutions with GE appliances from Design Depot.
Design Depot, all in one place.
And welcome back. Our second conversation this morning is all about screwworm. I know it has been making the news fairly recently that there has been a new screwworm, if I could identify it as such.
Yes.
And with us in studio this morning is Willie Chan. He is a technical coordinator at AICA, and he is here to talk to us about the new screwworm. Now, first of all, Mr. Chan, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Let's begin by talking about screwworm. What are these insects, if I could describe it as such, and how problematic are these insects in terms of livestock, in terms of any other animals that may be affected?
Okay, thank you for having me here. So, New World screwworm, that's the name, and the scientific name is Cochleomia hominivorax. Hominivorax in Spanish means devoradora de hombre, or man-eater if you translate it literally.
Wow. Don't scare us.
It is a serious threat.
Wow.
Right now, it is right across our borders in Guatemala. Yesterday, a case was confirmed.
Wow.
So 30 years ago, it was in Belize.
I remember 30 years ago, there was a screwworm eradication project.
Correct.
Go ahead.
So it was eradicated in 92, 93 from Belize. And that was done through a cooperation agreement between the Mexican government, the US government, and also the Panamanian government. In terms of impact, it has a huge economic impact. I would say more than $100 million if it would affect our industry.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So in terms,
and this is regionally, or
that would be just Belize.
Just Belize, $100 million.
Yes.
And we just to rebound with our cattle industry.
Right. So you could have an idea of the threat that we have right across our borders.
I think what a lot of us are trying to understand is what exactly takes place if we do see the first case of screwworm here in Belize being so close to our border. What particular livestock will be impacted? Does this affect humans even?
Okay, so this one affects all warm-blooded species, including humans. It's a fly. So the fly, what it does, it finds an open wound or even nasal cavities, ears, eyes, or the female and male reproductive parts of animals.
Yeah.
And it lays its egg there. The fly has a cycle of 21 days. So after about 12 hours, these eggs would hatch, and then they would start to burrow into the open wound and start to eat.
Yeah.
The difference with other flies is that this requires a living host. So it requires something that is alive. So for example, the ones that you see on a dead animal, that's a different type of fly. That's a macellaria. So that only feeds on dead carcasses. But this one requires a living host. Right. And each fly has the capacity to lay between 200 to 350 eggs.
Whoa.
And it can lay 3 times within its life cycle.
My God.
So you can imagine it's...
Yeah. You've identified the issue.
Yeah.
My question is, how do we now either make an attempt to prevent this from, crossing over our border, or once it has been identified in Belize, what can be done by AICA and of course by the Ministry of Agriculture?
Okay, so right now we are doing a collaboration with AICA, OIRSA, which is the International Regional Organization for Agricultural Health, the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise, and BAHA, of course, the Belize Agricultural Health Authority, since they are the competent authority that see anything related to both animal and plant health. What we are doing is, because in Belize it is not present as yet, we are doing what we call a sanitary education campaign, which is monitor your livestock, monitor your pets. If you see any open wound, treat it, make sure it is dry, make sure it cures, because the fly only will deposit on an open wound or on nasal cavities.
Yeah.
What is the trend right now in most of the other countries is that in newborn animals, the fly would target the navel.
Yeah.
So there is where they have issues, and in most of these cases, livestock are just left in the fields and the pastures. So you wouldn't know if a newborn, if you don't have a strict control in terms of when the cattle would give birth, then you wouldn't know if your cattle has given birth. And it just requires, 12 hours for a fly to reach there and
And then the rest is
deposit the
history.
eggs. And
To
Are
the
there,
best of your knowledge, has there been sort of a regional response to this?
Yes, we are currently doing implementing a regional program. It is funded by the USDA and also through OIRSA and through AICA. AICA is leading everything that has to do with communication and awareness. And of course, like I mentioned, it's not AICA alone. This is being done in collaboration, in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture, with BAHA, with OIRSA. But at the regional level, OIRSA is the one who is looking at it, and there are plans in place that are already ongoing, especially in the countries that were affected. Like I mentioned, it was eradicated about 30 years ago. However, this pest is endemic in South America. There is a plant in Panama, in Pacora, which is COPEG. It's a collaboration between the US and the Panamanian government. And what they do in that plant is that they produce sterile males, and then they release them in the environment. Because the female only needs to mate once. After that, she just lays her eggs and then she would die off. Her life cycle is about 30 days.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. But the male is the one that can mate more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we have been joined in studio by Bellarmino Esquivel. He's the Principal Agricultural Officer with the Ministry of Agriculture.
good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for giving us this space.
Yes, so we're talking about the New World screwworm and what appears to be an imminent threat right next door to us in Guatemala. Can you speak to us from the Ministry of Agriculture's perspective as to the monitoring and evaluation of what's happening across the border and perhaps our state of preparedness in terms of being able to have farmers aware of this particular threat?
First and foremost, I want to explain the impact that this screwworm may potentially has on our industry, particularly the beef cattle industry.
Yeah.
But under the One Health approach, we have collectively come together, AICA, OIRSA, the Belize Agricultural Health Authority, and the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that we have and we devise the plans, the preparedness plans that will allow us to prevent, first of all, the entry of this pest. And if it gets into Belize, we already have the protocols, we have a plan that has been strategically developed for us to control the pest. And there is a sensitization process. Even before the pest gets into Guatemala, we had already started with the awareness. So we have already started in Toledo district with an active campaign, and we have already trained 140 officers of different ministry, BAHA, veterinarians, extension officers, Belize Livestock Producers Association agents, and we are closely working with the Belize Livestock Producers Associations, who basically have registered more than 6,000 farmers, and we continue to appear in TV shows like these ones so that we can sensitize the general public so that they become aware of the threat, how to identify, more so importantly, and who to call. And once that call gets to our offices, where it's the BAHA, Ministry, ICA, or OIRSA, we already have technical people who have been trained how to take sample, how to identify. We have an entomologist who has been trained abroad. The Ministry of Agriculture has also engaged in going to other countries that have had this incidence and are already, we have looked at their plans, and we basically, what we have done was take those plans and Belizeanize our own plans and have our own people on guard. Right now, our major concern is prevent. It is in Guatemala, and we are not saying, and it is an imminent trend, as you clearly stated. And obviously what we want to do is to prevent as much as possible from coming in. But because of we trade, and there's movement of animals and humans from one country to the next, there's always a possibility that that pest can get into the country. So we have to be very much prepared, and we're into a plan now to even run a simulation exercise.
Yeah.
What are the signs that farmers or persons that own livestock can look to if they believe that their pets or animals may be affected with the screwworm fly?
Even before looking at signs, I would tell the farmers, the cattle farmers or the livestock farmers, to basically take good care of their animals. For the fly to penetrate the tissue or the animal, they will need an opening, they will need a laceration, they will need a mucous membrane, so they will have to be very alert, very vigilant for them to be very observant. And if there's at any point any maggots or any larvae that is moving, to quickly get into it, identify, call, because there is a process of calling and then having the right competent authority coming in, or the technician, to make an evaluation and assessment of how this particular larvae looks at. And if it is screwworm, then thereafter there are sprays that are used to control the larvae, and that would be the most effective way for them to prevent from spreading and from controlling the pest.
Every so often there is this concern about screwworm in this particular case, the Mediterranean fruit fly in another case. It's always about these insects that are essentially preying on our ability to access food, because that's what it essentially boils down to. I was mentioning to Mr. Chan earlier that we're only just properly rebounding in terms of our livestock industry with cattle exports and what have you. I know we have this particular threat looming that stands to affect our industry. Mr. Chan was saying that if this comes to pass, we're looking at $100 million in potential losses. How is the Ministry of Agriculture bracing for this? From an economic perspective, naturally.
Well, the social and economic impact could be serious.
Yeah.
As I had already stated, there's about 6,000 farmers in the entire country of Belize, from Toledo to Corozal. So the livestock per se has allowed for people to make a livelihood. And it is second to the sugar industry, contributing to the growth and development of our economy. So certainly when you look at our national herd, which is approximately 200,000 animals, and the amount of exports that we have, about between 35 and 40,000 animals that are exported every year, generating over $60 million just in sales. And then when you add on the local sales, I mean for the domestic market, that drives you to $90 to $100 million. Now, one of the facts that we have to be cognizant is that we trade with Mexico. We have initiated a formal export of cattle to Mexico. And what that could happen is that could come to a stop, meaning that if the screwworm is detected in Belize and it is confirmed, then there is a notification to the World Organization, World Animal Health Organization, in terms of that it is here. And then from that day we start to eradicate, we start to control and eradicate the pest. But it is until then that we have completely eradicated the pest. We will have until 12 months, 12 to 18 months that we have to be free. So eradicating doesn't mean, so that means all that cattle that goes to Mexico and that money that is generated, foreign exchange that is generated, is put at a stop.
That stop means that these cattle
will no longer go to Mexico.
But will they be treated? Is this something that if they are infected with screwworm, that it can't be treated?
Once you have screwworm, one of the requirements, when it comes to the sanitary control measures, export requirements, is that there are some diseases that will not allow you to trade with our countries, and this is one of those. And Mexico has indicated to us that if it is found and if it is confirmed, immediately we expect that will come to a halt. It becomes a halt, and we will continue to, of course, to seek measures to eradicate it as quickly as possible. But for now, to prevent it from coming in.
I know this is from the ministry's perspective, but what is Baja's role in all of this? Because we're looking at, if it is identified in Belize, there's a suspension of exports. But we're also looking at imports. Where is Baja in all of this? Can you speak on that?
There are two particular. Certainly, Baja is the competent authority in terms of maintaining agricultural health in Belize, in terms of animal health, plant health, and human health, because this is a zoonotic disease, meaning that it can impact humans, all warm-blooded animals. So obviously they have a tendency to attack more the livestock, the beef cattle, the dairy cattle, but it can affect cats, it can affect dogs. So certainly Baja, as the competent authority, has to ensure that there are movement restriction controls. We are being we're looking at the south because it is more closer there where the detection or the confirmation of the screwworm in Guatemala was found. Isabal, if I'm not mistaken, which is very near to our southern border. So one of our strategic, what Baja currently is doing is to reinforce movement controls, and from an importation perspective, we have to ensure that everything that comes into this country is clean. So even that's from outside to inside. Now, from an internal standpoint, movement controls will be placed, restrictions. We are also re-engineering the movement permit, which the BLPA, Belize Livestock Producers Association, issues, because there is a mandatory law that for every cattle farmer to move one animal from one farm to the next, or from one district to the next, they require a movement permit that the animals are tagged. So basically, any animal moving will have to come down, will have to be inspected, have to be treated for wounds, and if let's say the screwworm is detected in Toledo, no animals will be allowed to traverse to other parts of the country, just so to avoid the spread.
Do we have sufficient manpower though? Because that's perhaps the next question to ask. When you look at what you've mentioned, 200,000 heads of cattle and the possible outbreak in one part of the country, do we have sufficient people on the ground to be able to contain?
Well, scarce resources will always be a limitation, but that has not refrained us from devising and coming together with ICA, with the USDA, through OIRSA, who has given us funding already, and then working collectively with the private sector, with the Belize Livestock Producers Association, with the Belize Agricultural Health Authority. So like I said, this is a collective approach. This is not a one-man show. So I think that has allowed us to not duplicate efforts. So also, it was just a recent justification kind of cabinet paper went to Ministry of Finance and to request for additional funding so that we are prepared. I don't think we were expecting for us to be reactive. We have been proactive. I think we have the plans, we have the protocols, we have trained our people. We started with the sensitization process, and the trainings are going at the district level. We have a series of media appearances. We have had brochures. We are developing videos, commercials, and we are targeting even at the community level, shipyard community, major producing areas, where we are sensitizing the farmers. So yes, scarce resources is a limitation, but I think we've been fortunate enough to come together collectively with the different institutions. And right now, as we speak, there is also a submission for a tripartite, Belize, Guatemala, and Mexico, to look at a bigger plan, because Mexico does not want this screwworm. The United States does not want this screwworm, and we know of the socioeconomic negative impacts this may potentially have on Mexico and the United States of America. So they are also putting funds, but we have to have the plans, and we have to have a clear and strategic direction how we're going to prevent, how we're going to control, how we're going to eradicate this pest.
And you need to act now before it actually enters or crosses our borders. As we wind down this conversation, I want us to pinpoint key information that our viewers need to know as it relates to the screwworm fly. Of course, what it is, who or what it impacts, what are the worst case scenarios if a person or a livestock is impacted as well.
So the main thing, like I mentioned before, was monitor your animals, inspect them daily, make sure that there is no lacerations, no open wound, and if there is, treat them until they are cured. Then the other one, if in the event that you would find a wound that is infested, immediately notify the competent authority. In this case, it would be Baja. But then also we are also asking for the farmers or the public to also inform the relevant district agriculture offices, also the Belize Livestock Producers Association. And we are also working in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, because as I mentioned, it also affects humans. So we are working with them, and we are working with the Forestry Department, Department of Environment. So there are people who are going to be trained in terms of how to collect a sample, how to send the sample to the lab. Once it is identified, that sample needs to be taken. It needs to be sent to the lab for confirmation, and the infected animal needs to be treated until it's cured. Now, one thing that we don't want to create a misconception is that because the animal is infected, it won't be good anymore. No, the animal will still be good. It might lose quality in terms of the skin and the wound, but if you treat it properly and it cures, that animal is still valuable.
So it means that we can distribute it locally, but just not for trade.
No. Once it is infested, you would have to quarantine it until it is cured. That animal will not be able to move from the point where it is identified. So it will have to be separated from the rest of your animals, and then once it is cured, then you could reintegrate it into the farm.
Bear in mind that if there is an identification of this pest, and in a particular location, one of the immediate response of Baja is to quarantine the area, meaning that you will have a buffer area zone of 20 kilometers at the minimum or so. So that we won't allow it. What farmers need to understand that it is not only a laceration or a cut or a wound where they can deposit the fly can deposit the eggs, but even when they are administering ear tagging, whenever they are doing injection intramuscular, intravenous, even when they are removing a tick. Once there is an opening, even mucous membranes, the valves, the anus, the nostrils of the animals, the eyelids, the fly can also lay eggs. So they have to be very vigilant in terms of watching their animals every day and ensuring that whenever there is parturition, for example, and they have to treat the navel cord, they have to treat it well whenever they're dehorning. So there are some other areas that will have an opening. They need to treat it well so that they can avoid this fly from just laying eggs and creating the damage that it creates on tissue.
All right.
Well, gentlemen, as we wrap up this segment, we want to say thank you for taking the time to come and visit us, and of course using our platform to share this information with the necessary personnel. As we wrap up this conversation, I'll give you an opportunity to share some final thoughts.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, this is, as Bellarmine had mentioned, this is one of the approach or the avenues that we are using to be able to sensitize. So be on the lookout. Do not move animals illegally, and if you see something, report it immediately.
Thank you so much for giving us this space, this opportunity to speak to the general public. And I would tell the cattle farmers that it will impact your pocket. So it is not a Ministry of Agriculture responsibility, Belize Agricultural Health Authority or IRSA. It is more so important for the cattle farmers to be very vigilant to treat their animals, as it is them who will be directly impacted by not taking care of their animals. So I ask them that if they need help, just to call us, and we are very receptive to listen to their concern and more so willing to attend to their needs in terms of treating this pest.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, the conversation switches into Belize going green in the top 100 sustainable destinations.
Show. Ay join jik ahelak sa Kopal Tree Lodge. Keronik ahelan ay lain sa Kopal. Kakui bartending kakui an keronik mano lain. Lain ni usara Belize Bank mobile app. Hanak na usara uta hana ATM. Utin card. Araw kay balbas changkiron sa usara ut kolore na notification chira phone a mensajes. Araw ta kin kolore ka kala harup chitumin sa usara. Ut araw ta naw nak sa chabilo kong gatumin.
Gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
Are you a dynamic and charismatic personality with a passion for storytelling? Do you have a unique voice that captivates audiences and a talent for bringing stories to life? We are looking for fresh faces who are energetic, engaging, and natural in front of the camera or microphone. If you are passionate about acting or voice work, we want to see what you've got. To register, email producer@channel5belize.com or call 670-6068.
We are jumping into our third conversation this morning, and if you remember, it was just about a month ago that we highlighted that Belize was selected as the destination at the World Sustainable and Travel Awards, and of course this continues that conversation. If you did not know, today is World Sustainability Day. Suitable enough, we have representatives here from the Belize Tourism Board talking to us about what it means to Belize in general, recognizing this day, among other topics related as well. Joining us this morning is Josue Carballo, and he is the Director of Industry Development Department with the BTB. Also joining us is Erin Gungara, and she is the Sustainable Tourism Coordinator, also representing BTB. Guys, good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
So, how does Belize celebrate Sustainability Day, having won such a really big award and being recognized as one of the top sustainable destinations in the world?
Yeah, so today is World Sustainability Day, as said. It is a global initiative that is used and dedicated to promote the awareness of sustainability and good practices, you know, to take care of the planet and Earth for generations to come. It's not only about meeting the resources that we need for the present, but also to meet the resources needed for the future generations to come. When you think about sustainability, people usually, the first thing that comes to their mind is the environment.
Yeah.
But it's like an onion. There's many layers to sustainability. There's 3 different pillars. So there's the environment. There's also the social aspect of it, which is employee well-being, community well-being, fair trade, employee rights. And there's also the economic aspect, which for businesses, you know, it's financial growth and also them being able to make decisions that drive profit, but not at the expense of the society or the environment.
So we know that the Belize Tourism Board has ensured that they find unique and innovative ways of meeting these requirements or these demands of being a sustainable destination, highlighting some of the very points that you would have mentioned, Erin, throughout the year. So on a day like today, is there anything in particular that we should look forward to from BTB?
Yeah, we do have a host of activities that we're doing. But I think most important is to take a time to recognize all that we have done as a country, and also to continue that much necessary awareness. No?
Yeah.
As part of the green destinations, which we're going to also kind of discuss a bit, and we're so proud of that, we also embarked together with one of the green destinations regional coordinators to look at doing an assessment with us to be able to measure what we do, right? That which is not measured cannot be improved. And so one of the basic things that has always been spoken about in the industry is about some level of recognition or certification in sustainability. So we looked at a good travel scan, which is a basic, which is a first assessment that can be done. It's easy to access to the goodtravelscan.com website. And what we liked about this new methodology, which we're implementing now and we're here also to promote, is the fact that this scan has 10 basic arenas now, which you can, as an entity, measure yourself and grade yourself from 1 to 100. From food and products, how you manage your food and products, caring for people, what you do as an entity to embrace people around you, good employment, how, your staff and how comfortable they are with working with you. There's caring for climate, which is also very important, and the whole ecosystem, reducing waste, caring for water. Sometimes we take for granted the water accesses that we have, reducing pollution, caring for nature, caring for culture. And then 10, and very important, is management and information. How you use your information to better your business and keep in line with all of these different metrics. So we are very happy to say that we had a first initial an open call for a scan a couple of months ago, and we had 21 entities from different sectors of tourism, different parts of the country, and we did this scan with them. No? And it was really neat and nice to know that, to give you a reference, to pass and get the ability to do a pre-certification, you must pass with a 50% up. Now it gives you a little picture of where you are, also areas in which you can improve. And we are so happy to see that despite the fact that we had this a first time initiative, and many people are doing a lot of practices on their own, not maybe with that coordination, the Belizean average was in very good areas like the Riviera Maya and those things. There are certain areas that grade maybe 59, 60. Our average was around 67. So that means as single entities, separately, we're doing a lot of good things. So this has given us the platform to be able now to start to look at best practices, to be able to promote, and more so to encourage these entities to do the scan. It's a very easy process, and if you need any guide, and the goodtravelscan.com website is readily available. You pay a small fee, you go in, you put in your information, and you create your scan, and then afterwards you then get you can then pay a fee for an assessment to be done personally directly with you, and we can connect you to that, and we want to encourage that. So much so that the regional coordinator said, "Man, I just love your country so much," and she was the one that worked with us with the video that you're seeing with the Kayo stories, and we managed to. Right now we are within the top 100. We're still vying for other places as well. But the thing is that she was so in love with the culture particularly, and the way our people are embracing their surroundings. I said, "Man, this is the place I want to live. This is the place that I want to come and retire." No?
Yeah.
It's something amazing.
What does this mean for the strengthening and the improvement of our tourism product?
It's important for us to have a baseline. Usually we don't measure things, and so getting to a point where we can create recognitions and eventual certifications are important, because then we place ourselves in the world map. Right, officially, and people like to benchmark when people come and choose where they want to travel. No, so the Good Travel Alliance is very important. The Good Travel Scan is so important, because then this places you within that ecosystem of responsible companies.
Yeah, and this gives you a baseline to see where your company is at. So if you want to take the next step in certification, which a lot of people who book activities and accommodations in Belize, they look for, because they, some people may say that they are sustainable, but that's it. They're not actually walking the walk. They're just talking the talk.
And having official recognition that they are as well. You'd be surprised the amount of tourists who want to see that validation to be assured that they are somewhere that recognizes the value in sustainability, so that they can contribute to that as well. I want to take the conversation over to the top 100 sustainable destinations, and Belize being selected for that green destination top 100. How were we considered in the first place?
Okay, so their green destination, they do an open call. So anyone can enter, it could be the destination on a whole or a specific organization, or you can, multiple organizations can come together and create one story, but it has the link and they can submit it. But in order to submit it, you must go through a series of checks. So first there's the sustainability check. So once you pass that, then you can go on to the next level, which is to put together your story. And once you put together your story, you can submit it. Once they accept it, then you can put together the video. And so we pass, you need to get over 60% of the criteria, and the criteria is based on the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, their criteria. And so we were completely happy when Belize was able to go ahead and issue to submit the video. And so this video, we focused, well, first we did a local call for local heroes. And so this was where we were going to get the story from. And we had interest from a lot of the organizations in Cayo. So here we showcase Upenai. So they have a Maya immersion business, and we also did the E-Hostel West, which is the Marima group from Benke.
Well-known Marima.
Yes. And we also have the ladies from San Antonio.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, and then we had to put something in there that shows how we preserve the environment. So we also showcased the Belize raptor.
What I love about this video, it's very organic. In terms of the people and the activities, it embodies who we are as Belizeans.
Absolutely.
I think it captures it very well.
And why we chose this to highlight this as a story is because through our National Sustainable Master Plan review, we also noticed that people now want tours. They want to be able to spend more days within an arena.
They want experiences.
Yes, and this gives you an opportunity to create a corridor in which you can visit different centers and out the same theme of local heroes that are doing their thing to keep their culture alive and to keep nature, embracing nature. So that's why that was so important. And at the BTB, we have been doing a lot of work with green spaces as well. From the Corozal Chactemal Bay Park that is already in construction, we assisted with the nature park, running track. In Belize City, we have worked with 5 different green spaces now, and that is what one of the projects we'll be doing today. We'll be going together in partnership with the Belize City Council to enhance these 5 green spaces which we've worked with, including Constitution Park. We did Battlefield Park. We have done Berger Field. We've worked with the Lake Ring Road Park that was just built as well. And as we go forward, we want to be able to embrace that. And as a staff, we have decided to also work with the City Council to embrace and uplift another park. So we are in talks with them as well. Today we will be out with them in terms of ensuring that these green spaces are properly being used and managed, and all of them embrace nature. Now in Cayo, we'll be working with the 2 riverside projects in San Ignacio, Santa Elena. In Sokots, you will soon see the opening of the Welcome Center there at Sokots. There's the opening of the Welcome Center coming up in Scene Bite. It's an amazing place, greenery, lighted up, alive. Punta Gorda will also have its welcome center. And we're talking about the tarpoon feeding park in Key Cocker. So we're proud to be able to embrace that, and today as a staff we will be highlighting those green spaces. We'll be out there as a staff helping to put up signs and be able to bring awareness on the importance of green spaces. And I think there are also 2 smaller initiatives which I'd just like Erin to discuss as what we'll be doing with staff.
All right. So we'll just do like a recycling competition, which we want to take regionally, but we're starting small just to, work out all the ditches and stuff. And we're also doing a tree nurturing activity. So we're getting trees that we will, I guess you'd say, raise up, and then we'll be able to go plant them at like a park or a school.
Well, guys, this has been a wonderful conversation. As we wrap up this segment, I'll ask if you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with our viewers as well.
So just happy World Sustainability Day.
Yeah.
Everyone can do their part. And we do want to work together with people being able to be recognized and certified in sustainability, but also for everyone to join us. No? And last, I just want to say that as our next big step, one of our next big projects we'll be doing, we're looking at some partner organizations to launch a mangrove rehabilitation program soon, because we believe that beyond just doing conservation, regeneration is important.
Definitely.
So thanks to all our stakeholders for making us proud and keeping us up there at top practices. And we look forward to continuing working with everyone.
Final thoughts, Erin?
Yeah, so upcoming, we want to expand the top 100. So we want to look at the coastal regions and also down south. And then in the years to come, we want to certify Belize as a green destination.
Wonderful. Well, we are certainly looking forward to all of these projects and, of course, further recognition for Belize. It's always a pleasure, guys, and of course, we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
All right, we are going to take our final break now, but you want to stay tuned because when we come back, we will be sitting down with the Honorable Tracy Panton, giving us an update on all the occurrences within the Alliance for Democracy and, of course, the UDP headquarter takeover. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, I have fought a good fight, I have finished my course, I have kept the faith. In October of 1968, with a wail of sirens from police cars and with dark almost settling in on the Mexico City Olympic Stadium, a lone runner wearing the colors of Tanzania staggered into the stadium. His name was John Stephen Akwari. He was the last contestant to finish the 26-mile, 385-yard contest. His leg had been injured in a fall and was blooded and crudely bandaged. He hobbled a final lap around the track as the spectators stood and applauded him as though he were the winner. After he had crossed the finish line, someone asked him why he had not quit. He replied simply, "My country did not send me 7,000 miles to start the race. They sent me 7,000 miles to finish the race." As I get older, I become more keenly aware of the fact that it is not only important to begin the race right, but to end the race right. Not only heroes receive medals, yet God promises a crown of righteousness for those who finish life's race faithfully. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
MacNav Visual Strategies, where creativity meets business. Step inside our world of innovative visual solutions. From captivating graphic design to expansive wide-format productions, our services are tailored to bring your vision to life. Experience the impact of our high-quality signage and billboards, embroidery, promotional items, and professional paper printing, all designed to elevate your brand's presence. Every project reflects our commitment to creativity, quality, and client satisfaction. At MacNav Visual Strategies, we transform ideas into visual realities. Get in touch today.
My name is Hermain Vega. El Patio Grill has been using Belize Bank for over 25 years. We only use Belize Bank at our restaurant. That's why we were able to win this trip to Europe. I had never been to Europe. We found out it was Madrid and we were excited and we went to this football match. The teams reached before the game and everybody was just outside, you know. You can't explain it. The noise just roared like 3 blocks down the street, but when you got in there and you saw 70,000 people in there, that was amazing. I couldn't believe it was happening. I had to pinch myself to make sure it was real, you know. Because it's a one-in-a-lifetime experience, I'd say. My lucky plus one was my son. He's 18 years old, so he was really excited and he enjoyed it as well. He said it's his best trip ever, so it's a priceless experience that we got. Belize Bank has always been there for me. Whatever transactions or whatever I need to do, they're always there for me. I would recommend everybody to use Belize Bank. It's the oldest bank in our country and they continue to do their best.
Cellular World is the authorized Samsung distributor in Belize, and they offer 1-year local warranty on all Galaxy devices.
Cellular World always has the best tech deals countrywide.
Get 3 or up to 7 years warranty on all Dell technologies because Cellular World is the authorized Dell partner here in Belize.
Like these good folks, rush down to Cellular World for the best tech deals such as cell phones, TVs, tablets, speakers, business products, and so much more. Visit any of our stores in Belize City, Belmopan, San Pedro, and now in Orange Walk. Or shop via our virtual store through Facebook and Instagram. Or WhatsApp us at 615-5141 to find out more.
Are you a dynamic and charismatic personality with a passion for storytelling? Do you have a unique voice that captivates audiences and a talent for bringing stories to life? We are looking for fresh faces who are energetic, engaging, and natural in front of the camera or microphone. If you are passionate about acting or voice work, we want to see what you've got. To register, email producer@channel5belize.com or call 670-6068.
And welcome back. For our fourth and final conversation, we have been joined by the interim party leader of the United Democratic Party, none other than Albert Area Rep. Tracy Panton. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, and thank you so much for having me on your show. I want to give a big shout out to all our UDP supporters, to our UDP delegates, to all Belizeans really, but in a special way to the people of Albert. I keep saying they're the ones that have me in this debacle.
Well, hey, tell you what, it's been a whirlwind 2 or 3 days in terms of being able to gain access to the UDP headquarters and to be able to perhaps begin your work as the interim leader of the UDP. Let's begin by getting an understanding from you what that has been like. I know that on Monday there were officers manning the building and there were supporters for your leadership and there were supporters of Mr. Barrow's leadership, and there seems to have been some kind of tension in terms of being able to access the property.
Let me say that after the convention on October the 20th, there were some supporters who said, let's go and take over. We have spoken and we need you to be able to operate the business of the United Democratic Party from the headquarters. I have gone on record to say that the institution is not the building. The institution is the people, and the institution has been in place for 51 years because of the people. But the building is iconic, it is symbolic to the United Democratic Party. And I was clear in my mind, and the leadership team was clear in our minds, that we would do things properly and legally. And so we had done the research. We knew who the trustee of the property was. And after the convention, we met with the trustee to ensure that the trustee would afford us the opportunity to access and occupy the building for the work of the United Democratic Party. And that's what happened on Monday. We had the full authority to access the building. I believe that the delegates, most of the people who were out there were delegates to the national convention. The police was there indeed, but I really felt that the police, in my opinion, operated outside of their authority to a large extent. The role of the police officers was to ensure that there's law and order and that we maintain the peace. And there really was no reason to have, I think I was guarded by 25 police officers that day from all different units of the police department. We are a civilized people, we're a civilized organization. We have dissent, we have differing views, but we are a UDP family. And I had no doubt that the transition would have been go as smoothly as it could and under the circumstances.
But you will forgive me for throwing this in then, that it has been described otherwise as a roguish and a thuggish takeover, so to speak.
Certainly not. I walked through the door. There was no breaking down of doors. We went to the headquarters with their proper authority. The documents were served to the coordinator who was in the building, Mr. Ian Jones. The door was open and I walked in. There has to be, to ensure that there is safety and security of the assets of the United Democratic Party. We, had the locks changed, which is any management would do if we don't have access to the keys. So, thuggish, and the media has a way of sensationalizing things. I think that we followed the right protocol every step of the way. And there will be those who did not want to see that happen. But that's the democracy, right? That's the democracy we live in. There are those who support and those who don't support. And the way forward will be determined by the leadership of the party.
One of those persons who are certainly not in support is the leader of the opposition, Moses Shine-Barrow. My colleague Isani here sat down with him yesterday in an extensive interview where he mentioned that the takeover was essentially criminal. He also mentioned that in order for that to have taken place, there should have been a court order.
No, not at all.
What would be your response?
Not at all. Not at all. There was no need for a court order. There is a sole trustee for the property. Mm-hmm. That sole trustee is alive and well in her sound mind, and that sole trustee accepted the decision of the October 20th convention, where there's a new leader of the United Democratic Party, and gave us the authority to use the building.
So you begin your work in earnest.
Yes.
Now that the takeover has been complete.
The organs are now under the control of the new leadership team, yes.
Before we begin with the discussion of what's next, let's talk about what transpires in Parliament the next time there is a House meeting being called.
Ideally, you would want to ensure that the leadership of the party is the leader of the opposition in the House. It does not have to be the case. That would be the ideal situation. I really call on my colleague, the Honorable Moses Shine-Barrow, to respect the decision of the people. The people of the United Democratic Party, the highest decision makers of the United Democratic Party, determined on the 20th that there must be a leadership reset, and even calls on the former party leader and all our colleagues in the National Assembly to do what is right and ensure that the leader of the party is the leader of the opposition in the House. He will not go quietly in the night, as I think we can all agree on that. But he's the leader of for now, he's the leader of the opposition in the House. Mm-hmm. And I am the leader of the United Democratic Party. And I am hopeful that after we get through the next couple of days, he will come to understand what the will of the people is and that he will respect it.
On the evening of October 20th, at the conclusion of the Unity Convention, your arms were raised in victory, so to speak. But you
It's a victory for the people.
Yes.
Because the voices of the people were not stifled.
Mm-hmm.
They had an opportunity to come to the convention, to have their voices heard. There was no intimidation, there was no incentive, there was no tactics to incite fear. They came, they voted by secret ballot, and they made their determination as a way forward. So for me, the victory is for the people.
So I want to pause on this very same image right here, because this is symbolic and iconic for various reasons, right? So you're flanked by John Saldivar on one hand and Patrick Faber on the other. And these two individuals, powerful and influential in their own right, also come with their own baggage, right? And this has played out for the world to see. And these are the two persons who are essentially supporting you as well.
I was supported.
What does this mean for you, this particular
I was
image?
supported. So this is the narrative that the media wants to promote.
Okay.
I was supported by 16 members of the United Democratic Party, 16 standard bearers who were men, and one phenomenal woman in the name of Beverly Williams, who is our second deputy leader. We had the support of 17 standard bearers as a part of this movement, and this movement is a pressure group, if you want to call it, within the party that is standing up for democracy, that has said and will continue to say that the democracy of the party is important, because when the democracy of the party is compromised, the democracy of the country is then in peril. And so I'm sure there's a story about all of us, right? And all of us come with some baggage, I am sure. The fact is, John Saldivar has 1 vote and Patrick Faber has 1 vote at the National Convention. 347 delegates, 66%, more than 2/3 of the delegates of the National Convention spoke. And they asked for a leadership reset. Just the way I will not disrespect the fact that the Honorable Moses Shine Barrow is the elected era representative of Messop, I will not disrespect the people of Colette, who have said resoundingly that the Honorable Patrick Faber is their area representative and standard bearer, and the people of Belmopan, who voted in a contested convention, who said the Honorable John Saldivar is their standard bearer. The only way these people can be removed is when the will of the people say they shall be removed.
Now you have Hugo Pat as the deputy leader.
He is the first deputy leader of the United Democratic
But I'm
Party.
made to understand that he's not in alignment or in agreement with the Alliance for Democracy at all, and so there may be some...
There's no Alliance for Democracy.
Okay.
There is the United Democratic Party. There was a movement, just the way there was the Caucus for Change. We seem to forget history so quickly. There was a Caucus for Change who rallied behind the former party leader to ensure that he won the convention in 2022, and there was no talk that the Caucus for Change was a third party or no, because it suited his agenda. The same way, the Alliance for Democracy is a movement within the party to ensure that there are checks and balances, to ensure that there's a voice against those who want to treat as though this is a dictatorship. There are no unilateral or arbitrary decisions that will be made in the United Democratic Party. There's a system of governance within the party. There are mechanisms to ensure that we can build consensus on any policy or any decision that will move forward as a party, and the Alliance is a part of that. We have achieved our objective.
Yes, but the Hugo Pat issue remains the question at hand.
Well, I would really like you to ask Hugo Pat. I would ask you to come on the show, because Hugo Pat is the first deputy leader of this United Democratic Party. And we have done nothing to undermine him, to replace him, to suggest that he does not have the respect of the membership of this party as the second deputy leader.
Have you spoken
as the first
to him?
deputy leader? Yes, I have spoken to him. And he has, as the first deputy leader of this party, he has a responsibility and a duty to the party and to the country. And if he has decided now, in his best wisdom, that he no longer believes that he has that duty and responsibility to the party and to the people, then he should tender his resignation. But until then, we will continue to acknowledge him as the first deputy leader of this party.
What's next? There's an election looming. There's perhaps very little time for you to be able to muster and to form a formidable candidacy in total against the People's United Party.
We are going to extend every effort to win the next general elections. We are going to do the groundwork that is required in every constituency to ensure that the party is in its best state of readiness to win the next general elections. Our democracy, like you, Isani, like you, for me, is a thing that I guard most zealously. It is what sets us apart in this region, a peaceful democracy. And so we are going to ensure that we have a robust democracy and that we take every step to win the next general elections.
As it stands, where does that confidence level, where would you rate that confidence level as we prepare for the next general elections in just about a few months?
The people. And if anybody came to that national convention on the 20th, the support from ordinary Belizeans were undeniable. I think that the former party leader needs to respect the will of the people, and I think the government administration certainly took note.
Well, Ms. Panton, we are certainly keeping our eyes close to this. We constantly speak about what took place just Monday as one of history, seemingly. And of course, with your self at the helm of the United Democratic Party as a female at that also...
A competent female.
A competent
Thank
female,
you.
that certainly adds to a part of the history as well. My final question to you is, do you see the possibility of us having a UDP administration come 2025?
Absolutely. That's why we're in this race, because we believe we have the ability to win. We certainly have the ability to lead, and it is proven that we have the ability to govern.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you guys all the best, and we only hope to continue following the development of the United Democratic Party, hopefully on the verge of healing, and to also present itself as a strong opposition as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And we also want to say thank you to all of our other guests for joining us this morning. As we mentioned, it was a jam-packed show, Isani, but we're grateful to all of them for joining us and, of course, providing you guys with necessary information. It is October 30th, actually. Tomorrow's Halloween. And, of course, if you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to ya. But if you'd like to give a birthday shout-out, or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oie@channel5belize.com. You can also catch us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ, as well as Instagram for behind-the-scenes contents at OIE Belize. Thank you so much for joining us, and please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow for our Halloween special, when you open your eyes.
So start your morning right.
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind,
and your hearts open.
Have a wonderful Wednesday.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.